Hey guys, I'm going to talk for a minute about, longer than a minute I suppose. I want to talk about racism and reverse racism and about the fact that racism is a totally wrong word. First of all, I'm just going to tell you about a true story that I've wanted to mention a few times and never remembered to do it. When I was in England, when I was younger, this is a while ago, I was in Blackpool near Manchester, and they had a parade. I think it was a Pakistani parade, or Indian. I don't know. Anyways, so they had this parade, and they were celebrating some kind of sports win or some kind of religious holiday or something, and. But the interesting thing was, on their cars, they used soap or some kind of special car washable markers or something, paint. And they wrote on their cars shit like, "Fuck you, white people." And "white people burn in hell." Like, they're just writing racial slurs. And I'm watching this, parade of, East Asian people drive down the road. And they've got these racial slurs all over their cars, and they're all cheering, and they're giving the finger to groups of white people, and everyone's just watching. And I'm like, whoa, and British people are tough. If you haven't been to England, you probably don't realize this. Like, there's two kind of stereotypes of British people. One stereotype is the British gentleman drinking tea and all that, and the buck teeth. And the other stereotype is like from the movie Snatch, where they're like just tough as hell and beating the crap out of. That's the more correct stereotype nowadays, anyways. Maybe 30 years ago it was the British gentleman. Now they're tough, especially in Blackpool, because it's a shitty town with lots of poor people. So when I was in Blackpool, people were just getting beaten bloody left, right, and center. Like, I was just like, it's Sunday morning, I'm walking to buy breakfast, and I watched like two people get knifed. It's just I'm exaggerating, but I'm not exaggerating by much. One thing I did see, like one example, there was like a few times I saw violence, and I was only there for like a couple of weeks. One example was some teenagers were playing soccer in a park, and one teenager evidently did something that you're not supposed to do while playing soccer. And another teenager just grabs him by his shirt and headbutts him and breaks his nose, and blood's pouring out, and everyone just keeps playing. And the kid just kind of just walks off. And the guy that, hit him doesn't do it. He just grabs the kid and just casually breaks his nose, and everyone just keeps playing. And this is in a park on the weekend. There's mothers with their kids, families, and no one bats a freaking eye. I'm like, man. Yeah, British people are tough. So what was I talking about? Yeah, so here you have, I just explained that British people are tough, and in Blackpool they're tougher than most other places. And then you have all these foreigners driving down the street saying, "Fuck you, white people," and giving them the finger, and the pussies don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of blew my mind, Like, I'm pretty sure that if I was in my hometown of Winnipeg, and there was, that one white person would call a couple of hundred other white people, and they would react to the racial slurs written on their cars. I don't know. It's kind of So that's that's the whole But and of course, if the opposite were true, if it was some kind of Caucasian parade in England, and they're all like "fuck you Pakis" and "fuck you Indians" on the sides of their cars, the police would stop it. The police would bust it they wouldn't even be able to start their cars. They'd finish writing the racial slur on the side of the car, and before as they're getting in the car to start the engine, the police would be there with like a SWAT team to stop them. And they'd all be arrested for being racist. But meanwhile, the foreigners can do it no problem. It's just nuts. How is that allowed? Yeah. So that's part one of my topic. Part two of my topic is.
Papa.
BB.
Papa.
BB. Where's your key? Turn the key. Key. Brum, 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 brum. Good. Oh.
Papa.
Papa. Thank you.
Papa.